Perhaps the Labour Party might want to reflect themselves on the last period of Labour government, where we had Home Secretaries like David Blunkett, far, far to the right of people like the Shadow Home Secretary today. You came to Britain illegally during the last Labour government. Your feet didn't touch the sides. You were gone, you were out. Indeed, in the last year of the Labour government, from 2009 to 10, 50,000 people.
Nigel Farage's stance on the mass deportation of illegal immigrants is closely connected to his broader views on immigration control, national sovereignty, and societal stability. Farage argues that illegal immigration places an unsustainable strain on public resources. He claims that the UK's infrastructure is already struggling to accommodate its current population, and the influx of illegal immigrants exacerbates issues like housing shortages and long wait times for public services. By advocating for mass deportation, Farage believes these pressures can be alleviated, freeing up resources for citizens and legal residents. Farage's views on immigration and deportation have sparked both strong support and significant criticism. Among his supporters, there is a belief that he is addressing legitimate concerns about the impact of immigration on British society, and that his proposals are necessary to protect the country's interests.
People will come to our country, and nobody is making the argument that there aren't some exceptionally wonderful people among them. There are, of course. But the sheer level of population means we have to build a new house every 2 minutes. Even if the Labour government is able to fulfil the 1.5 million houses that it wants to build during the lifetime of this Parliament, it will make no dent at all on the current shortage of housing. Rents have risen by 25% since 2021. Why? Population increase and pressure. And the list goes on through access to health services, to congestion, to pressure on infrastructure. The population crisis is the biggest impact affecting people's lives, damaging their quality of life, and virtually nobody in this place even wants to talk about it. But perhaps it's on illegal immigration that I do really want to make a point. Always seeking attention. And I've no doubt there are some that think that's still the case today.
Spot on.
Thank you. But I did it because it was obvious to me what was going to happen. It was obvious that there would be a huge influx of people illegally coming to Britain across the English Channel, and it would happen because we'd stopped deporting people who came to Britain illegally. And perhaps the Labour Party might want to reflect themselves on the last period of Labour government, where we had Home Secretaries like David Blunkett, far, far to the right of people like the Shadow Home Secretary today. You came to Britain illegally during the last Labour government. Your feet didn't touch the sides. You were gone, you were out. Indeed, in the last year of the Labour government, from 2009 to 10, 50,000 people who came here illegally were deported. Now, none of that happens anymore. It didn't happen under 14 years of Conservatives, and it clearly isn't going to happen under this Labour government. And I wonder why. I think you'll find it's the increased role of a court overseas that was set up in the wake of World War II with the very, very best of intentions that has now completely outlived its usefulness. It is, of course, called the ECHR, the European Court of Human Rights, and it was the Labour government that enshrined the convention into British law. We will not stop the boats, even if we send a handful to Rwanda. We will not stop the boats by attempting to smash the criminal gangs. We've been doing that to the drugs industry in Britain year after year, decade after decade, with no success whatsoever. The financial rewards for smuggling people across the English Channel can now net a gang 2 to 3 million euros a week. Whatever prison sentences or penalties are put upon them, there will always be people volunteering to make millions of euros a week. We will only stop this if we start deporting people that come illegally. Then they won't pay the smugglers. But we'll only do that by leaving the ECHR. But I've got a fun suggestion that I think would liven up politics, engage the public, and see a massively increased turnout. Why don't we have a referendum on whether we continue to be members of the ECA?
Farange argues that illegal immigration is frequently enabled by well-organized criminal networks engaged in human smuggling and trafficking. He believes that by deporting illegal immigrants, the UK could disrupt these smuggling operations, reducing their profitability and making them less appealing for criminal enterprises to pursue. Farange often connects illegal immigration to broader societal issues, claiming that uncontrolled immigration undermines social cohesion as communities struggle to absorb and integrate large numbers of newcomers. This, he suggests, can lead to cultural conflicts, higher crime rates, and a general feeling of insecurity among the native population. Farange frequently presents the issue of illegal immigration within the framework of national sovereignty, asserting that the UK has the right to control its borders and decide who is allowed to enter the country. In his view, illegal immigration weakens this sovereignty and the rule of law.
See the unfairness of it. They say, how can it be that we're on social housing waiting lists for a year, perhaps 2 years, when these people that come illegally are put straight into four-star hotels, or, if not that, private accommodation? How can it be that those that come have access to dental care when we can't get an NHS dentist? And I think the fact that the hotels alone are costing over £7 million a day makes people pretty upset. Those that have come into the country legally aren't very happy about it either, because they've gone through costs, time and hoops to be in the country the right way. Frankly, I think this is very dangerous. You only have to look at what's happened in Sweden, in cities like Malmö, to see that a large influx of young males coming from an entirely different culture, and certainly coming from a culture in which women are not even regarded as second-class citizens, has had, frankly, disastrous social effects. But since the events of October the 7th, and what has happened in Gaza, and increased radicalization in the Middle East, this is even more of a problem. You see, these young men that come, and I've actually filmed this, I've filmed on the 12-mile median line, people throwing their iPhones into the sea, throwing their passports into the sea, doing everything they can so that we can't track and identify them. Although it's okay, because they get an iPhone, a new one, within 24 hours of arrival. But I think this is a national...
Farange has consistently criticized the UK government's approach to immigration, arguing that it has been too lenient and has failed to prioritize the interests of British citizens. He believes that the uncontrolled influx of immigrants, especially illegal ones, has resulted in numerous problems, including strain on public services, housing shortages, and rising crime rates. Beyond immigration concerns, Farange has highlighted the growing spread of conspiracy theories as a sign of increasing public distrust in the government. He contends that many people no longer trust official explanations and are instead turning to alternative theories to explain the country's issues.